Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful princess dart gown with puff sleeves. It has buttons at the center front, as you can see right here on the video, and it also has a back slit. So this beautiful gown, this is what I came out with, as you can see right here. So in this class, I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful puff sleeve with perfect inseam finishing for the zipper, as you can see right there. I finished it up with my lining and the slit is neatly finished. So this is a princess that is just a princess that, not a bustier, just a princess that. So you'll be learning the technique in this class. So you can now fix your buttons at the center of it if you want, just like it is in the video. So we are going to start by drafting the pattern. So I'm going to place my tape and take my vertical measurements. I'm taking my chest line, bust point, and my half length. So I'll take it again, my chest line, bust point, and half length. My chest line is 9 inches, bust point 11, and half length is 17 inches. So I'm going to measure my shoulder, divide by 2. I got 8 inches. So I'll mark 3.5 inches for the neck width and come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. I'll connect a straight line to the chest line to create my armhole. So the midpoint, I go in by 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. The neck depth is 4 inches for the front. So I marked 4 inches for my neck depth for the front. You can make it 4.5 if you want it to come a little bit lower. So on the bust area, I marked my bust circumference, divide by 4. I have 10 inches. I marked at that point. On the bust point, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches. Divide by 2. I marked 4 inches and I marked half an inch of my dart on both sides, making it 1 inch to create my dart. So after that, we are going to take the waist measurement, divide by 4, then add 1 inch of the dart just to replace the dart, and then I'm going to connect my bodies. So the next, I'll come down by 2 inches, which is my bust dart measurement. So I'll connect my bust dart and share my bust dart into 2 to create the point at which I'm going to create the bust dart. So now I'm done. This is exactly what you expected to have. There is no under bust right here. We are not creating a bust here, just a princess dart. So I'm going to connect a curve from my midpoint, mid armhole, to the bust point, and I came down by 1 inch on that point, then came out by 1 inch again. Of course, you are familiar with this. So what I had, I came down with, I replaced it at the other side on the armhole. So now we are going to create the back pattern. So I also marked my chest line at 9 inches, but this time around my half length is 15 inches because of the bust dart technique. So I took away 2 inches. So now I've ruled my line. This is my center back. So my shoulder divide by 2 is still 8 inches. I'll also mark it on the chest line, come down by 1 inch, and the width of my neckline is 3.5, and the depth is 1 inch for the back. So I connected those lines accordingly and also made a straight line for my armhole. So now I'm going to get the midpoint of the armhole, and for the back I came in by half an inch. And now I took my bust circumference, divide by 4, and my waist circumference, divide by 4. So there is no dart for the back at all. There is no dart. So I made the back dartless. So now I will come in by 1 inch for my zip contour line, and I'll connect it to the neck line. So that part I'm going to cut it out, but I'm going to replace the 1 inch on the side of the waist and half an inch on the side of the chest line. just to replace that to avoid shortage. So now I'm done with the pattern. So here is my zipper line, and this is the back, and this is the front. So we are going to cut out our patterns right now. So I'll quickly go in through the cutting of my pattern, as you can see. So I just cut out through the darts right away, and like that I'm done cutting, as you can see. So I'm going to close up my bust dart right away. So you just go ahead and close your bust dart. So this is it, and the princess dart is ready. So you can see everything is matching up accordingly. So I'll cut out the back piece, cutting out the zip contour line, the shoulder, the neckline, like that. So the patterns are ready right now, and we'll jump into the cutting of these patterns on our fabric. So but before we cut on our fabric, this is exactly what you are expected to have for the upper piece of this dress. So I'm working with 3 yards of crepe fabric. So 3 yards, and I have already cut out, adding my seam allowances. So I added 1.5 inch on the side of the seam allowance and 1/2 inch all around. So I'm going to join the front piece together, as you can see right now. I'll just go and join them together. So after joining the front piece, both lining and fabric, this is what I got. So I'm going to join the shoulder seam lines together right away. So I'll pick up the back pieces, lining and fabric and fabric. I'm going to sew their shoulder seam lines, as you can see. So I gave it a good press, and I'm going to lay the lining on top of the fabric to sew the neckline at 1/2 inch. So here you can see at 1/2 inch, I'm going to secure with my pin before I go ahead to stitch. So I took my time to make sure I pin the shoulder seam line so everything will align perfectly, as you can see right there. So I will go ahead to stitch. So after stitching, I made a notch and also top stitched on the neckline. So now I want to start the down piece. So for the down piece, I folded my fabric with my hip divided by 4. I added extra 5 inches to it. So I marked my line and placed my 17 inches on the waistline. That is what I placed on that waistline. Then mark my hip line, and I have my knee line at 39. I came up by 3 inches and marked it at 36, and I'm using the full length of this dress, which is at 59 inches. So on the waistline, I'm going to take my waist measurement, divide by 4. I marked it, added 2 inches to it. On the waistline, my hip divide by 4, added 2 inches to it. I took the measurement of what I had on the hip line and took away 2 inches from it and marked on the knee line. I did the same on the hem line. So now I'm going to connect from the knee to the hem line with a straight line. So I'll run a straight line through it, and then I'm going to use my pattern ruler to connect the hip to the knee line. Then from the waistline to the hip line, I connected as well. So right now we are done with the front piece of this down part of the gown. So we are going to cut it out accordingly. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out, as you can see right here. So after cutting it out, the front piece is very much ready, and we are going to use this front piece to cut out the back piece. So I've already folded my fabric the same way I did for the front, and I marked 1 inch seam for zipper allowance. So I'll just go ahead and place the center front of the skirt on that 1 inch zipper allowance. And now I'm going to highlight the lines. So I'm going to pin it first. So after pinning, securing with my pin, I'm going to highlight the lines. So I'm going to highlight the waistline, the hip line, the knee line, because we are going to contour the back piece on the zipper line. So I'm going to contour it by 1 inch. So I just mark from the waist to the hip, and then from the hip to the knee line. You can see the butt allowance right there. So that is what I just created. So I'm going to replace it on the side. I highlighted the lines once again, and I'm going to mark 1 inch on the waistline. And on the hip line, I did not take anything, I left it. And on the knee line, I came out by 1 inch to replace it. And I mark 1 inch all the way down, because I'm going to cut out the center back area from the knee to the down piece. So right now, I reconnected the replacement. So I placed my pattern ruler the same way I did on the front piece to reconnect this part. So I'm done reconnecting them, and we are going to cut out this piece right now. So I'm cutting the back piece right away. So you can see where I'm cutting right now. So I want you to watch very well to see what I'm cutting out. So I cut out that side right away. Then I'm going to cut the center back area, taking away that 1 inch because we have replaced it on the other side. So I cut through the butt allowance, and from there I cut out the contour line of 1 inch, creating the butt allowance, as you can see. So right now you can see that part is ready. So I'll add half an inch seam allowance to stitch the down piece with the upper part of this dress. So now I'm going to create on the back piece. I will measure 1 inch for my zipper, and I'm going to make a notch to it. So I'll just make a notch to each. So now we are going to attach what we got right now to the upper piece. So I have my lining and fabric for both of them, both for back and front down parts. So I'm going to attach the down and the front parts, the upper parts. So I've attached it, as you can see. So I've given it a good press as well. So this is the back piece. So next I'm going to do is to reduce the lining. I'm reducing the lining by 1.5 inches. I want the lining to be shorter than the main fabric, so I reduced by 1.5 inches. So I'm equally going to reduce all the lining, both front and back, by 1.5 inches. So after reducing the lining right now, next is to sew the zipper piece. So I'm going to put the center back together for the fabric, and I'm going to take the measurement of my zipper. So the measurement of my zipper right now, I'm going to place my zipper. First of all, you are going to pin the waistline to be sure the waistline aligns appropriately. Then you place your zipper, as you can see right there. So I place my zipper right there, as you can see. And I place my pin to hold the waistline. That is what I meant to say. So I place my zipper to be sure I get exactly where my zipper will stop. So wherever the zipper stops, I came up by 1 inch and marked the zipper point. So in other words, from the waist you can take 9 inches, okay? So I took 9 inches from the waistline. So right now I'm going to pin on that point from the 9 inches, and then I'm going to take the measurement of my slit opening. So for my slit opening, I'm going to take the measurement of my slit opening from the hem part. So I'll place my tape and measure at 18 inches. So I'll just mark 18 inches or 19 inches, okay? So from that point, I'm going to sew my slit. So I just thought of coming up by 1 inch again. That is 19 inches from the hem line. So I'll mark 1 inch right now, and I'll go and stitch that part and stitch my zipper as well. So my zipper is stitched only on the fabric. You can see it is only on the fabric. So I'm going to sew the lining together with it by placing it right side to right side to achieve a perfect inseam finishing. So as you can see, I'm going to secure the waistline of that zipper, making sure the lining and the fabric aligns accordingly. So I'll pin it and head over to the machine and stitch on that already stitching line. So after that, this is what I got. You can see the inner part is so beautiful and neat. Now we are going to work on the slit. So for the slit, I'm going to flip, first of all, pin it to make sure they are aligning together. So once you secure it and make sure they align together, next you are going to flip it the other way around and stitch at 1 inch, but don't stitch to the end of it, just stop a little bit, like 1 inch above. So after stitching, I gave it a good press. So the next thing we are going to do is to place right side to right side. So I placed right side to right side and took my fitting measurement. So I've fitted the dress, as you can see. So for the slit area, the down piece, I'll just use my weaving machine and weave around it and hem the fabric on top of the lining. Okay, so I just want to make it simple. So now we want to jump over to the sleeve. So the sleeve is a puff sleeve, so you are going to measure the length of your puff sleeve at 31 inches, or you can make it 40 inches if you want it bogus. Then the length of it, the width of it is 15, the length is 31 inches. So I placed it on fold and placed my basic sleeve. You can see where I placed the basic sleeve, towards the end of it. So I placed my basic sleeve, and right here I'm going to trace out that part. So I'll just add my seam allowance of 1/2 inch. So that is how it's going to look like. Then you make a notch. So I have 2 pieces of my sleeve right here, and I'm going to gather up and down to create that puff. So I'll as well go cut out my lining. Okay, so I've cut out my lining piece with my Dollface satin fabric, which I'm using for the lining. So now I'm going to pick it up, the Dollface, right side to the fabric, and I'm going to stitch the down piece with 1/2 inch. So after stitching, this is what I got. So next I'm going to stitch my elastic casing. So I'm going to measure my elastic casing at 12 inches, which is my bicep. So you can see the casing right there. I stitched the casing at 1/2 inch spacing. So I measured 12 inches for my elastic, which is my bicep. So whatever your bicep or largest part of your arm is, just cut it out on your elastic. So I use my safety pin right now, and I'm going to insert through the casing I made. So I'll keep inserting right there, as you can see. So before it slips in, I'm going to top stitch on the elastic casing to hold it down. So right here, I'm going to stitch the size of this sleeve. Okay, so the sleeve is ready right now, and I'll bring in the armhole, and I'm going to insert it this way. I'm going to pin it on the shoulder seam line and on the armhole. So I'll start from the armhole to stitch right now. Then I'm going to pleat it in on the shoulder area accordingly. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. So once you pin it on the armhole area and pin it on the shoulder seam line, you are going to have an excess. So that excess I have is what I'm going to use to create the pleating. So I'll go over to the machine right now, and I'm going to create that pleating accordingly. So here is the excess I'm going to pleat in. You can see how I'm going to pleat it in on the other side. So my sleeve is ready now, and the dress is ready. I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends. See you in the next one. Bye.